And we're live! Hello and welcome to the 148th episode of Game Theory Gang. I'm your host, Matty Allen, with ChrispyMan of Hexfire.io and Fast Abdoul of 2phux.io. Welcome.
Hey guys, how goes it?
Hola. Hello.
Everybody hit the like and subscribe button and share this out. President Trump has just pardoned Ross Ulbricht.
Nice. That's kind of a big deal for crypto. Probably for Ross too, I imagine.
Definitely for his mother. You met his mother, right, Matty?
Yep. Yeah, who did I meet her through? Some Hexicans. Was it Timothy Benjamin? Who was politically connected a couple, 2-3 Bitcoin conferences ago. And yeah, I took this picture with her. I also met Jessica Vaughn, the same brunch. She's like a Playboy model turned Bitcoin influencer. But this is a picture of me with Ross's mom, Lynn Ulbricht. And I had tweeted back on the day that Trump won that this was a victory that ensures her son will be set free, because I was at the Bitcoin conference when Trump promised to pardon Ross on day one. And many people in crypto were looking at Trump's actions on day one to free Ross as an indicator of whether he was going to do the rest of the things he said he was going to do for crypto during his term. And so it turns out his first full day on the job today, he followed through with his promise. And now Ross, he was the creator of the first Bitcoin marketplace called Silk Road. And that's where they could buy drugs with their Bitcoin. And, like apparently, and Trump actually made reference to this, is that some people think that Ross was framed when the FBI agents caught him in a murder for hire scheme. And they say that, Trump even said in his pardon comments that the Trump family has been affected by this unlawful lawfare, this, rogue corruption in the government that he said affected Ross, and it had given Ross 2.5 life sentences as his punishment for being somebody who, made Bitcoin really like have a value for a lot of people to see, like, oh, I can, you could buy other stuff other than drugs on there. You could buy like normal stuff too. But it was the first time when Bitcoin was really used as money, where money is the function of a medium of exchange and not just a unit of account or a speculation vehicle. And so there's a huge history. And I would like to point out, because I spoke to Lynn Ulbricht when we had brunch together in this photo. And I would like to point out that the Bitcoin conference actually kicked her off of the speaker panel because she wasn't being enough of a maxi that year. And now they want to pretend like they've always supported freeing Ross, when in fact, because she had launched an Ethereum project of NFTs to like help raise money to free her son, they had kicked her off of her speaking spot after she had already gone there to Miami. So she was like there to speak like she did every year, and they kicked her out because they have like this cabal that tries to control what people can say just because you're a speaker at the Bitcoin conference. So that's particularly interesting bit of like social psychology that is being glossed over today when Bitcoin Magazine and the Bitcoin conference founders are claiming victory, that they're the ones that helped free Ross. They didn't always support him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what he'll say in his first interview. How long was he in jail for?
Years. I would say like maybe he's served about 10 years now. And Yeah, I mean, like that's something I pointed out in a Mario Nafwal space I did that got like 250,000 views. I made the point like Ross is going to be an influencer. Like he has been tweeting from prison through like messages that he gave his family to like tweet. He's been really active on Twitter. So you're going to see and hear from Ross, and he's going to be a constant reminder, I imagine, that Trump did what he said he was going to do about crypto. Hey, Cream.
Bang, bang.
Welcome.
Hey, it's green.
Biggity big.
Yes, sir. Glad to be back. It's awesome. Please continue. Yeah, he should be out of prison hopefully soon. So a lot of executive orders. So it's epic. I've been watching a lot of videos about how this thing went live. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
And the January 6 people being pardoned, that was cool too.
Yep. 1,500 people there.
Plus, yeah.
And
getting out the Paris Accord was funny too. Don't save some money.
the next one that we have on our list to free is, of course, Roger Ver. And I saw an email today from his team asking people to email the lawyer who's in charge of like pardoning people for the president, you know, to like bring it to his attention. So we've still got one more guy out there that, you know, said he might speak at next year's Hex conference as long as he doesn't, you know, get sentenced to 110 years. And yeah, so the more we can do to like free Roger Ver, I think it's, what is it? freerogernow.org. Let me check that before anybody goes there.
Interesting.
Yeah, freerogernow.org. And then, you know, that probably gets you on the list and gives you the instructions for where to like send your email today. Because, you know, this is the exact moment where Trump has got his attention on pardoning people in crypto. And of course, Roger's been a longtime supporter of the first principles of crypto, like Hex.
Makes sense.
Cool. What else is new in the news today? Is there still? Did the president still launch a meme coin? Is that still a thing? Or
Well, they launched kind of basically 2 over the weekend. I don't know if you guys talked about that yet or not, but that was kind of what was hilarious is the timing of it. You know what I mean? Like I was telling a friend of mine, it's like he did it in a way nobody expected it, and then I mean to each their own. But what's bullish about it as a whole is like those who are worried about, oh, is he gonna keep up his oath and about crypto and this and that? I mean, creating a meme coin, launching it live, official. I mean, that's the biggest message you can say. I am pro crypto, so to speak, because if he's willing to do all that, I mean, the other stuff definitely are gonna get either A, the proper guidance that we need, thanks to David Sachs, or B, just get some partial or all dismissal, because I mean, he's literally playing ball at this point. So now, I hope a lot of people don't get burned, but then again, it's meme coin, so you know what I mean. People should be aware and warned about, hey, if you play with this thing, you can't come crying later if you get burned. But as a whole, strategically speaking, bold move, timing. Wow, that thing reached $1 billion volume, not market cap, volume in the first like less than 6 hours, something like that. It was crazy. And he's rotating some of the money into ETH, rightfully so, where his other project is, the Liberty thing. So, and I think he bought Wrap Bitcoin, ETH. He bought also Chainlink, I think.
Yeah, I saw
Aave, and one more. I can't remember. But basically, a bunch of DeFi stuff.
I'm waiting for them to discover Pulse. We have to figure that out, right?
Oh yeah, once you get ETH, bonded liquidity is gonna get there. It's just a matter of time. I mean, a lot of those projects, when you buy ETH and when you buy Aave, I mean, that already tells you you're in that kind of world that we're in. It's just the whole getting down the rabbit hole. Some people, it takes time because you remember, he's quote unquote, it's not him, the president, running it. It's more like his team. He's kind of self-aware of it, and then he has so many other things that he has to do. Like, because sometimes crypto people think like people just eat, breathe, crypto 24/7 like themselves. Other people got other things they got to do, let alone president.
Like being the president, stuff like that. Yeah, I guess he might be busy. But
Don't
like,
let
he's
him
not-
off that easy.
You mean he's not just clicking buttons? Come on.
Yeah.
So
could be right now. I bet he's watching our stream.
so two of the sons of Trump
Mm-hmm.
liked a tweet that was like saying, "Hey, let Richard off the hook. You know, do the right thing with PulseChain and Hex." What do you guys make of that?
Well, most likely they'll be the one running the point guard on this thing. So chances are in crypto as a whole, you know, I mean, I'm just speculating here, but Trump might be aware, but chances are the sons are the one really running it in terms of like what coins to get involved and stuff like that. You know, I mean, daddy gets the big picture and then just approve things and don't want things to be stifled, you know, make America great again, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, all the sorts of. That's why he's pro what's going on. But in terms of running the meme coin, knowing where to place money and do so other stuff besides Bitcoin and maybe ETH, all the other plays, it definitely meme coin, that did not come from him. That probably come from the son. Like the idea, hey, why if you want to launch a coin, meme coin especially, whether you like it or not, right? Solana is where it's at because, you know, more liquidity, this, that, and the third. That's probably why they launched it there. When it comes to DeFi and stuff, right? Ethereum, because that's probably, you know, again, the biggest TVL, the devs, all this sort of stuff. And then later on, when we're talking about expanding, scaling Ethereum, more throughput, all this other cool stuff, that's when PulseChain will come in. And hopefully, once everybody gets the proper guidance for not just us, but all the other crypto coins, it's going to allow us to get everything cleaned up. It's going to allow the judge, hopefully, Anti-Cal to do what she's supposed to do, get us the clean slate we need. And then moving forward on some distant future or not so distant future, when Rich is allowed to interact again, hopefully live, then build a connection. And then at that point, you know, them coming to PulseChain. I can see it happening in that kind of chronological order over time. But for day one, with all the cool executive orders, I mean, it's setting the stage to like, who knows, by the end of the month, a lot of things can be done already. So, but again, it's all speculation. You know, we don't care about the timing. We're not trying to time it. We just know that it's most likely going to happen. And whatever time it takes, it takes what it takes. But I'm confident that it will happen in that order.
What do you guys think about the Trump sons liking free Richard content?
Seems bullish to me. Like, you know, sometimes with some influencers, I found that like, oh, they just like anything you say. And I've actually done tests on a couple crypto influencers where it's like, will you like anything I say? And they're like, they just do, right? Because it's a bot or something. But it seems very unlikely that the president of the United States, you know, sons who likely have people that help them manage things like that are just have a bot that likes everything that gets commented on, right? Like, you know, somebody is reviewing what they like, quite likely. So they could unlike something if it was a mistake. So I think it's legit. There was that, what was that hack thing where I think it was Trump's son account was hacked supposedly, and it said something like about Richard Hart. Remember that?
Yes.
That probably brought it.
I'm trying to wonder if it was a hack or not.
It was a hack. Definitely.
Yeah,
There were other things tweeted that were like wildly, you know, like outside of character and like scammy and stuff like that. They were like horribly offensive. But the interesting thing is that like, you know, Donald Trump Jr., even after that mess was cleaned up, followed Richard Hart.
Exactly.
And then liked Shill Gates's reply about, hey, you know, like, let's get the SEC taken care of or something. So,
yeah,
I think related to that, I think when something like that happened, you know, if you're at least curious, which I think probably, you know, Donald Trump Jr. is and Eric Trump, is that, okay, I got hacked, but why did he post about this specific person? And probably that just created a mini publicity, and then he probably went down the rabbit hole and be like, well, who is this Richard Hart? Why would the person that quote unquote hacked me goes all the way to basically post this memo of freedom, leveraging the platform, so to speak? And then maybe he went to do his research and be like, well, this guy's actually pretty good. And then anybody that spent the time, and we know this, to watch Richard Hart videos, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Like, especially if you spend even just 30 minutes, the more you spend, the more you become a believer. And then you realize, like, this guy has great content, great knowledge, and that he's not the, quote unquote demon that some people want to try to make it to be, or fraudster, which is not. So and
Maybe
then
that's what got him into crypto.
exactly. And then you realize that, oh, he's making a lot of sense and he's doing everything the right way. And from there, boom, decide to follow. Because like you were saying, likes, could be bot, could be this, could be that. You can even like stuff just because you follow bandwagon. But when you follow, that's a big deal.
Right.
So that's like, you want to know what this guy has to say on an ongoing basis. That's a different story. That says more.
Yeah. But maybe I wonder if that hack was the instigation of his interest. Because you'd have, if you're the president's son and somebody hacks your account, you'd have to wonder, why did they take the risk, right? Like,
Exactly.
who was it worthwhile for them to do this? And it wasn't even like a real shilly, like, oh, go buy Hex, it's going to $1 million post or something, right? Yeah, I think it was more, more just of a drawing attention to the problem type post. So.
I think there were like 20 tweets that were all like horribly offensive. And of course, like tweeting that Richard Hart is innocent and like you're going to smite the SEC when you get in, like that's horribly offensive to like some people.
Perhaps. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I agree with both of you that like it certainly could have piqued his interest and caused him to like discover the truth.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was the one that stood out as like the least scammy of like, or like the least offensive of the 20 things.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
So
I didn't know there was anything else at all.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of tweets. But again, it goes back to what
if I recall
was said. It goes back to even if anybody that don't sales or whatever, obscurity is your biggest enemy. So the fact that it shed light, and then those who apply critical thinking or just curious, gonna start doing their research. Be like, oh, why this person? And then boom, and then you go down the rabbit hole. Next thing you know, he follows the guy. So I think that turned out to be overall a positive thing for the community, the know-how, the learning. And somebody like Eric Trump or even Barron, they definitely like to do their research. So especially crypto, like somebody just said in the chat, it's a win-win-win. So
billions of wins, billions and billions.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Another cool fun fact too, as of yesterday, right? Gary's finally out. That was fresh air. Celebrated that for sure. And now they have like a task force, 3 people with Esther Pierce leading the way. That's pretty cool too. And again, we're gonna have David Sachs, the crypto star. So I'm looking forward to next month once we start getting more guidance about how to be compliant whatsoever, and then just let crypto shine. So that's gonna be good. Looking forward
it was also notable that like Trump's meme coin launched at the exact moment that he was in the room at the quote unquote crypto ball.
Yeah, of course.
With every influential person in all of crypto. Some people saw that as like a boss move to show that there's no insider grift happening with the Trump coin itself. Nobody at the crypto ball knew. Nick Carter, David Sachs, all these people, like they didn't even have a chance to buy. It was only the people who were like home alone on a Friday night, they really found out about it. And so I think that showed a certain sense. I think it showed that like he didn't need anybody in crypto, and like he didn't have like, any kind of like insider grift going on. And then, also I think him launching on Solana, like maybe they're testing it out and, seeing what that chain is all about. It's certainly the most popular place to launch a meme coin this cycle. However, what we saw in reality is that Solana performed horribly to the point where it couldn't handle all the trades. It was dropping more transactions, I believe, than we're going through.
Ouch.
Throughout the whole weekend that the Trump meme coin launched on Friday night, and then the Melania launched the day after, which like the website for her thing it only came out it was registered a few hours ahead of time, whereas the Trump one was registered weeks in advance. And so like, it's clear that there was a plan to do the Trump one, and then the Melania one was, a last minute decision based on the
Yeah, think about it.
success.
They probably did more volume than they expected, right? $1 billion
Yeah.
plus volume, not market cap volume, in literally in a couple hours. And then they're like, wow, this thing is pretty cool. And then obviously, I think they cashed out somewhere around like $500 million during that time too. And then they're like, well, let's double down Melania. That's the reason why at some point when the Melania came out, the Trump one did a little bit of a dip. And then the Melania kind of launched. But then again, this volume is coming in. So they realized like, whoa, we timed it well. We did the surprise thing. And remember, that's what's the power of meme coin. The whole idea, it's supposed to be like that. The little guy thinking that he gets ahead. There's no VC. There's no front running. There's just a launch and whoever is there rush to get it. So that's why it did well. Have they have done any kind of pre-sale, this, that, it wouldn't have worked the same. But for example, they did the Liberty Finance thing. It was kind of like, pre-sale stuff. You got to be accredited, blah, 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 because this is that now you start making, quote unquote, potentially security stuff. So they had to be a bit more strict. But the volume ended up being way less than the meme coin because, again, the meme coin, there's no expectation or it's just whatever. It's just basically gambling and seeking attention. And nothing is better than a crypto ball related to the president to have the maximum amount of attention, knowing that by Monday it's the inauguration. So you got pure hype, you got crypto-related guaranteed content, and you can still play the buy the rumor, sell the news because you know that it's most likely going to have some type of executive order coming in Monday, but you have to get it now. So the FOMO is real. So it's like timing-wise, whoever chief of management, they did a good job. They timed that thing perfectly. And now it's a matter of how well it's going to do over the next few years. But again, if things do well, if Doge do well, which I have, I'm confident that it should do well, and now America comes back strong, then that meme coin nobody knows, should be doing well. But remember, for those who are thinking about getting involved, it has already multi-billion market cap. So be careful. Don't be the exit liquidity. And but if you throw money just to participate, to just be like fight, and you're part of the movement, you throw money, hey, that's fine. But just be careful. But other than that, they did it perfectly. They timed it right. And I didn't buy any, but I'm just happy that it's like one of us now because now he has real skin in the game. He has real official crypto. We heard about Trump-related coins before, but they were not made by him or his team. That's the official, so to speak, with a cool little picture, 555. That was funny. And so now he's one of us. So why would he not make regulation in a sense that's going to help the industry, knowing that he's now really part of the industry? So it's like literally one of the beautiful play of like killing, multiple birds in one stone, because you get the validity. Obviously, you make the money because he's a businessman. Let's not forget that. But then also you get to address hey, I'm part of you guys. I'm in it for the long term because now I have skin in the game, real skin in the game. So, and the fact that they transfer some of the money back to ETH is cool too, because it goes to show that there's the meme and there's the real thing, which is long term. So you make money on the meme and then you shuffle back to the real thing. So whoever's advising him is doing a good job.
And his NFT record shows that he's not worried about diluting the things that he creates in crypto. The same thing with the Melania thing. So yeah, I'm not holding any Trump long term because of that fact that there's already a track record of him doing like 5 different NFT projects at least. But I will note, he did those on different chains. He did on Polygon. He did, I think, on Ethereum. Now he's done something on Solana. And he's done DeFi on Ethereum. Hey, if PulseChain keeps staying in the top 10, there's a chance we might get some love someday there.
Absolutely. I can see that happen. Like I said, all we need is just we get Auntie Carol to issue either a partial dismissal, or let's just say, because I don't want to say any time here, let's just say the court thing goes behind us, everything's clean, we're really going to start to fly again. Richard is back to do whatever he wants to do without to worry about nothing. I won't see why soon after he can literally catch a live stream with the guy. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen it. I mean, because Eric Chong is very like friendly to crypto. You see him on a lot of podcasts. You see him going to conferences, whether it is in Dubai recently or other places. Like, he's playing ball in the space. Like, he wants to know. So it's like everybody that really knows crypto know how knowledgeable Richard Hart is. So it's like once he's able to quote unquote come back and then do, let's say, streams again, that's gonna be huge. It's like, whoa. It's like, have you seen those like artists or people that's been away for a while, and as soon as when they come back after years, everybody wants to do an interview with them? I feel like it's gonna be like that with Rich when he comes back. So, and So, and then at that point, bro, next thing you know, he's on PulseChain. I mean, we know that even haters are on PulseChain. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's just a matter of just he coming back and then bring some awareness, a couple of tweets. You can set up streams like that. It's super easy.
Let's go.
How about this for you? Who doesn't think that Richard would be a hell of an advisor for crypto?
Oh, huge. All day, every day.
Can you imagine if they did something like that? Would be so good. It's a little bit of dreaming, where like I don't necessarily think that would happen.
Honestly, he's one of the most qualified for the job, period. If that thing was available, the question is, does he want to do it? But yeah, I mean, there's not that many people, if any, who are more qualified than Richard Hart in terms of being an advisor of crypto, because he's well-rounded. It's not like, oh, he's just a super dev and know nothing about, crypto economics or mindset or people or something like that. So it's like, he is very well versed in all the key aspects that make crypto tick. You know what I mean? You got to know about, obviously code, being a dev, because for security purposes, understanding what the devs are actually doing, right? You got to know about token economics, because you got to understand, not only supply demand, but like the conditioning of the state, how people think, like the mindset, basically the thing that makes people tick. And that's very important, because sometimes that's what's going to determine whether or not your coin is going to be successful. Because if you don't understand token economics, human behavior and human dynamic, you don't know what the thing that makes people tick. You can create something that's safe and secure, but just nobody interact with it. You know what I mean? So that's why it's important. And also knowing how to deliver, knowing how to talk to people, sales skills is very important. And then ultimately knowing the bigger picture, like what's going on with the macro, the markets, Federal Reserve, all these other things, so that you can try to time your launch at a decent time, understanding that you want to catch a tailwind. So all those things, Richard Hart is very well versed in all those things. That's what will make you, quote unquote, a good advisor, because you got to be able to understand a little bit of all of that. So I think that's huge. Not a lot of people
Can you
have that.
unmute yourself, Abdoul? Your keyboard was sounding off, so.
Okay, thank you. I believe the saying is the poacher makes the best gamekeeper. This would apply.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody see the Hexologist stream earlier today?
No, he's been doing a lot of stream lately, but I catch a few here and there. But the one today, no, I didn't get a chance. What's the latest?
He reported on something where the Grok Twitter account. So Grok is the AI Twitter product that's out there, and he said that that there was a big influencer that was complaining that Grok had a link to PulseChain in its profile. Which just sounds made up. It doesn't even sound real.
Yeah, right.
And a hexologist found somebody who had made like a screen recording or a screenshot of this like weird jumble of like text, and like in the middle was this weird website, like something about like 2F torrents, dot something or another. And,
Nice.
You can see that would forward you to pulsechain.com. So that's surprising.
Interesting.
There's all these clues in this simulation. Hey, I've got another one here. You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
So I went down a little rabbit hole today. This is Vitalik's father.
Oh, I saw that.
And yeah, look what he's wearing here. This is the PulseChain like
that's
t-shirt.
crazy, yeah.
Is that a Ukrainian
Now,
color?
now if I try to look behind the cat, it kind of looks like a Ukraine, and on his profile he says that he supports Ukraine. So it's obviously a Ukraine, or wait, maybe it's a post or something. He said, or no, it's on his personal website here. I don't know if you guys can see this, but yeah, he says something about supporting Ukraine. It's like the first thing he mentions there. So yeah, this is the Ukraine shirt, but it's definitely got some like, pulse vibes going. So that's why I said that this simulation is giving you one last chance to participate in PulseChain if you haven't. And
Nice.
that kind of stuff.
I don't know. I could see a world where the Trump meme coin funds partially go into PulseChain. Doesn't seem that crazy. Like a play like that would pay off so much for them. Like if they moved $100 million of their $500 million they recently acquired onto PulseChain, so many people would follow them. It would be worth, $1,000 million in a month. I think the math is probably
That's what you're trying to say.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Not financial advice.
It makes perfect sense, literally, because again, it's one of the most vibrant community there is. A lot of upside, a lot of potential, relatively low. So when you bring in liquidity in an area where, again, the liquidity in terms of coin is low, when you can easily, quote unquote, push the price up, kind of like the meme coin analogy, but then you can become a strongholder in a community that master delayed gratification. It really is a no-brainer. But just the simple fact that some of the funds being rotated back to ETH, for example, and wrap Bitcoin actually helps PulseChain, because all those big wallets want a lot of ETH, and directly via transfer of energy, you're by buying ETH and ETH pumping. When some of the big wallets on PulseChain who have a lot of ETH start to transfer that in, it's indirectly some of that energy is coming in as well. So it's like just that alone is a good step. And then, yes, like you said, if they purposely then themselves get involved and come in and have multi-ecosystem, which makes sense because they've already shown that they've bought different coins. They've already shown that they might want to do some type of indexing. And the altcoin, so to speak, on PulseChain follow the same ethos of the coin they have been purchasing so far, besides the meme coin. So it really is a no-brainer.
Yeah, I agree. And that like some of the things that they're interested in on Ethereum like exist on PulseChain. I was perusing their wallets the other day, and they have wallets dedicated to Aave. We have Aave. They have wallets dedicated to liquid staking. We have liquid staking. With so many different options that are just here but cheaper. It's could be a thing.
That's awesome. By the way, Rich just tweeted a few minutes ago, which is pretty cool, with a picture of Trump. And he says, yeah, real Donald Trump is doing a great job. The SEC isn't the only three-letter agency attacking crypto, which is true. FBI, DOJ, and similar agencies internationally have been dealing damage as well. Yeah, including the dumbass, Anapol thing. The process is the punishment, which is true. That's very important. Let me say that again. The process is the punishment, because a lot of those agencies, they know they don't really have a case, but because they have unlimited funding by just stealing taxpayer money, they can just open up cases and then drag things as long as possible, draining people of their money because they got to defend themselves, right? Lawyer and all this other stuff. So it's either you defend yourself, aka you lose money, or you're basically blackmail and threaten to settle because you don't want to incur further costs. So it's like either way, it's a lose-lose, which is crazy. So again, the process is the punishment. Every subpoena they send is a big legal bill. See, you just said that perfect. Legal bill for whoever receives it. Often, very often, the subpoena are overboard, unduly burdensome, and other violation. Apparently, everyone that receives a subpoena has to individually fight for their right to not be violated by it. One by one, it has a chilling effect. Exactly like I was being saying. You're forced no matter what to either lose money, or if you defend yourself, if you don't defend yourself, you literally basically you're gonna be accused for something you didn't do, and then you can get convicted like that. Or if you're trying to like settle, then you gotta quote unquote pay them. It's a form of racket, it's a form of fine. So either way, it's not looking good. When private people try to do lawfare, there is anti-slap laws. And you show the weekend link. But when a government is doing lawfare against you, it seems like the best path is to ask the president to make it stop. That's true, because the president can make it stop, and he can issue pardon and stuff, and it will cost you, less money to no money. You just got to pray that it's your president that comes in. And honestly, it's only once every 4 years, right? So we're very blessed that the timing of it is good. So we don't have to wait another 4 years. And the fact that, the president that can help crypto has actually won. Donald Trump is an expert on lawfare because he's been on the receiving end of it for years. True. And he knows that it's not just the SEC is doing it. When agency allocate resources against innocent people, they are not busy getting bad guy. That's true. Waste of that is another big fact. Not only, again, they're acting with money that's not theirs, it's our money, right? Taxpayer money, misallocated. But on top of that, the people that they should be focused on, the real bad guys, are not getting the attention they need. Tornado Cash devs are in jail. Roman Storm's trial is soon. Samuri Wallet devs are in jail. The Netherlands convicted a dev for writing software. Roger Ver is facing extradition. Oh, see, talk about Roger. And 109 years. What? 109 years sentence? That's crazy. Yeah. The FBI and DOJ could easily report to President Trump a list of cryptocurrency targets, and I bet that list will be quite longer than the couple names I listed. TLDR, great word, Mr. President. Please check on a couple of extra agencies if you want to help keep the FBI and DOJ focused on getting bad guys. Well, that's a great fucking tweet. So, because again, he started by at the president. So chances are Trump's going to read it. So, or his team's going to read it. So that's a very
powerful. I'm going to like and retweet that. Even though I rarely retweet stuff from anybody, but this makes an exception. This is our get out of persecution, unfair persecution card here. Mm-hmm. So I would encourage everybody to go like and retweet, because that's how this is going to get viewed. I mean, you can even bookmark it, which increases the rank of the tweet even further. The more time you spend on these tweets, reading them yourself, like, reading it a couple times, like that counts towards the credit of like showing the tweet to more people.
Yeah.
So
it shows you're not a bot, that you're actually reading it, which makes sense. So it's like, and again, the points are literally on points. It's like straight to the point, very concise, breaking down literally the manipulation that's being made. What's the angle? What's the target? So somebody reading that understand what's being said, but more importantly, understand the reasoning about why they attack the way they attack. So you get to understand the game that's being played. So hopefully, obviously, Trump is very well aware, because he's been, like you said, subject to those. But we have a chance here to shine a line on it, to be like, it's not just like political opponent, so to speak, that to election agency can be like used as a way of like, not warfare, but basically as a manipulation tactic. So crypto people has been on the receiving end of that for a while. You know what I mean? So it's not just potential presidents or big business people, Elon Musk and stuff like that. Crypto people especially have been suffering a lot from these people. So hopefully we can get that cleaned up.
Yeah, and I mean, we know that that even the FBI, they've harassed people in Hex, doing Hex postcards and stuff. And so, yeah, like, Trump is, Richard is mentioning the SEC, he's mentioning the FBI, he's mentioning the DOJ, all, doing harm to crypto. And, Trump is the one who can do something about that. And it seems like he is already proving himself to be doing stuff for crypto and for justice. So,
amen. Well said. So yeah, everybody like and retweet. I think that's a great tweet for, again, overall crypto and overall bringing that awareness about how we have been attacked basically for years. You know what I mean? The same way, political opponent attack ex-presidents to some degree. So same tactics, same agency being deployed, same manipulation. And this is our way to fight back, because again, those people have unlimited resources, so to speak, stealing our money to do their vendetta. Because if we don't do that, we end up on the losing end of it no matter what, either while defending ourselves losing money, or turning into having to pay a fine, aka a racket. So
Right.
this is our cheapest, fastest, more efficient way now that we have a pro crypto president that's out there. We just need to make enough noise to be known, because it's been proven already that if you make enough noise and you're known, well, you get to the ears of higher up, if not the president, valuable advisors who can then make sure that your voice is heard, which is what it should be, as a constituent, with the voters, so to speak. So if it's important, it's noise.
I think it would be very important for this to be the most liked and shared Richard tweet ever. I don't know if that's something we can do, but we can't do it unless everybody who's here, participates and so on and so forth. So
like and retweet.
I think I'm going to share this on my Telegram groups as well, because the more this is our chance, guys. This is our chance to get fair treatment. Send this to your mom and your grandma and stuff, send it to everybody.
I'm share that on Telegram right now.
Yeah, I'll post it in some Telegram rooms. We'll get the word out.
Such a great tweet. To the point. It's getting good traction. Because he just posted that about 15 minutes ago.
Right. Critical mass. Here's your adoption amplifier right here.
Yeah, let's do it. Like and share.
Yep.
I have shared it on Telegram.
I can do a little research and see what Richard's most liked tweets are, and then we can measure it.
Yep.
You picked a nice picture of Trump too. Looks tough.
Right.
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's very bullish for Richard Hart that Trump is in, and that he just launched a meme coin, and that he's building in crypto.
Huge.
It's pretty hard. If the president does it, it's kind of okay. It's sort of the message that I'm getting.
But you still have to deal with those agencies. You're not in blue water yet.
Agreed. But from the viewpoint of those agencies, given the new climate and presidential attention to crypto and just attitude towards crypto, it sounds like going after Richard Hart, the guy with $10 million worth of top lawyers that I think are the same lawyers that Elon Musk uses. Is that correct?
Yep.
It sounds like a bad
Trump
deal.
too.
And Trump, right.
Yeah.
So if I was them, I'd be like, let's skip this one.
Yeah, but they don't get to choose that. Since it's already in motion, it's this is the cheapest way, the most cost-effective way where you're not going to be spending millions of more dollars.
Exactly.
We don't know what all and this is not just affecting us, but we don't know what all the cases are against Hex and PulseChain. There's a class action lawsuit against Hex in South Carolina, right? There's so we don't know what the FBI and DOJ is doing. We know that the FBI has been seemingly unfair to people just sending hex postcards. So yeah, I think like, yeah, intervention from the top dog Trump, like is, like this is our chance.
Absolutely. Again, it's the most cost
Top
effective,
down.
and it's about getting as much influence / visibility out there, because it's great for that as well, and it's good for overall crypto. Once you explain it like that, and that's what Richard has always done. Even when you read his posts, he never put it in a sense, well, oh, just help me and my community or whatever, or my coin. It's like, no, he's trying to do big things that's going to obviously help the community, but also help crypto as a whole. So always having that big picture angle, fighting for other people's rights, that's very powerful. Those are
the reason the SEC was like so hostile towards crypto wasn't just because somebody in the Biden administration asked for it. You know, it was also because the bankers were asking their future employees who work at the SEC to, like, you know, to do this for them so that they could get hired for, you know,
typical play.
Multiple times the amount of money that they're getting paid. I mean, this is there was a famous interview with Elon Musk. I think it was on Joe Rogan that he was like explaining how the SEC works.
He did
like,
on Joe Rogan. He did on Lex Friedman too. That was pretty cool.
Okay, you know, that's what it was Lex.
How they solve for this, it's very insane. I mean, Gary Gensler was such a blunt, easy, to your face example, because it's exactly like Elon said, but more importantly, we have footage and proof where he literally bait and switch and change, because way before he was SEC chair, he was also very pro crypto, talking about all the great innovation and this, that, and third. He was advising some of those projects even. And then he gets into office, total U-turn, right? Then we hear about Operation Choke Point and all this other stuff. So you can already see there's connection there. Then we see the connection with the same Bankman-Fried and FTX, which was the biggest slap in the face, because you're basically showing your card and showing the double standard where you used to be cool. Now you're not so cool anymore. You hate everything crypto, everything is security, like cracking down people. Again, we got the whole Operation Choke Point, what's going on with the banks and all this other stuff. Banks start kicking people out just because they have a crypto account. I mean, it was crazy. Remember those days? Like, I've had that. I've Crypto Coffee had that too, where like bank was threatening to close your account because you're doing crypto transaction or not letting you transfer your money. I mean, insane. And then all of a sudden, you get special favors for FTX. All of a sudden, they're good, even though they're doing the same thing. But Coinbase are getting sued. Kraken's getting sued. All of a sudden, but then FTX, everything's cool. Then we hear about how, you know, biggest donor to the party. I mean, it was so obvious. And then the big scam and the issue, which literally just slap on their face, because you allow this one thing which turned out to be the biggest scam of all, when you say you're supposed to protect investors. I mean, what a joke. And then now here we are. And anyway, and let's not forget the whole even Bitcoin ETF, he was forced to do it after constantly being against it. Then he pretended like, oh, I'm the one that let it happen. No, you were the issue, to the point where people in the Senate were like hating him. So, and now we finally got him out. And I wouldn't be surprised if in a few months, years, we're going to hear how he works as a contractor somewhere at a big bank or whatever. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised. And even Gary has a twin or brother, whatever, that works in the financial also. Like I tell you, come on now. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, the connection is there too. Twin's going to get him a job or was telling him what to do or what not to do or who to break down on. I mean, literally, that's like cartel stuff. You know what I mean? Like, who's in and who's not in, you know what I mean? But anyway, good riddance. We're just glad he's out.
Right.
Miami Vice.
Yeah, no, exciting times.
Yeah.
I'm very bullish on the remainder of January and February and March. I think the next 3 months are going to be insane for crypto. That's just my opinion, but I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I'm feeling that too. If you look at all the charts for the big DeFi coins and stuff, they're all pushing up nicely. The inauguration came out. We finished a little flush out because every 4 years, right around January, the first 2 weeks, it's a pullback because it pumps a lot during December. So now that got digested, I think we're getting ready for a new leg up. I mean, yesterday, casually, people don't realize, but Bitcoin actually made a new all-time high. It went to like 109,000. So I wouldn't be surprised after, digesting the whole inauguration thing, you know what I mean? The meme coin being launched, by the rumors of the news, all that's hype, because we've been pumping crazy since last week. Crazy meaning recovering. So now starting next, basically tomorrow, always around midweek, what I always see, because remember I told you guys I always look at primarily weekly chart. The midweek is really the key, Wednesday and Thursday, because it tells you how the week is going to look like. It tells you if it's going to be a bad week or a good week. So what's that? Midweek, we're starting tomorrow. We're pushing nicely. A lot of the executive order that people wanted to see, keyword, that they were like, oh, is he really going to do it or not do it, has happened, especially the January 6 people, just overall, because that was a big deal. Wanted to see that. The Paris Accord, for people who don't know, that's a big deal because it's going to save America a shit ton of money. And that's coming from somebody that loves the environment. You know what I mean? It's just like, but if you read the Accord, it's like America is getting screwed. It's one of those things about the tariffs where it's like everybody's not paying their fair share, and America is overpaying. It makes no fucking sense. So if you're going to try to cut some of the spending, cut some of the debts to help America do great, so to speak, so we don't have to deal with inflation so much, so that the stock market can do well. Those things are very, very necessary. So, and also, the Ross Ulbricht thing, you know what I mean? Maddie, it's fully official, right? That the pardon has been issued or not yet?
Yeah. It's been issued this evening. And as I said earlier, Ross is going to be on social media. He's going to be on X. He's been tweeting from prison through his family members, like, regularly, like daily for years. So you're going to see him, and he's going to become the symbol of Trump did what he said he was going to do for crypto. You're going to see Ross like speaking at Bitcoin conferences. You're going to see him like doing a media tour immediately. Like he's going to be going on interviews. I suspect, like,
which makes sense. Because not only, he's finally out, which is great. It's kind of like a January 6th pardon moment. But then, like you said, since he was so specifically crypto related, that's why it makes it a big deal for us. So this is why it's really, really good. And if somebody like him can get a pure pardon on the website where people are saying, oh, it's, good or bad or whatever, that's debatable. But that really goes to show that the administration is very, very like pro-progress, pro-sensible regulation, keyword, where it's like we're not going to stifle innovation because we're scared and we have no proof and we're just saying everything is bad. When it's like most of the bad acting, or like the famously saying, the US dollar has more bad thing happening with it than any other way of transaction. So saying because, one thing has obviously a few bad actors doesn't mean that everything on there is bad. Like wanting to have privacy doesn't necessarily mean that everything you do is bad. You know what I mean? So protecting First Amendment, protecting, rights of Americans, I think that's great.
As I said earlier, like the Bitcoin Maxis stabbed Ross's mom in the back before. And so I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of like struggle to figure out like who's on Ross's team, because like, the Bitcoin Maxis who run the Bitcoin conference, they patrol people's speech. They take people like Robert Breedlove and they say, you're out of the Bitcoin royalty if you talk about anything other than Ethereum. And they stopped Ross Ulbricht's mom from speaking at her normal spot at the conference where I met her because she had done something on Ethereum. So like, depending on who pulled the right strings, Ross might have some loyalty to the Bitcoin Maxis, like follow their rules about not talking about anything else, or he might recognize that like they stabbed his mom in the back and they're only pretending to like support him when really they have their own political motivations. And he might be like a free agent. So I guess what I'm getting at is, I think there's at least a 20% chance we could pick up Ross for Team PulseChain. And as long as you guys keep spreading the positivity, like I do believe that he's going to be a force on social media. And absolutely. I think there's only one community in crypto that owns crypto social media, and that's us.
Welcome to PulseChain, Ross. We love you.
Yes.
I think just overall, once again, it's a big win for crypto as a whole, and again for sensible regulation. And it's good that president is following up on what he says he's gonna do. He just add more validity. That's the key. And then for people to remember, I mean, how many years did he do in prison, Maddie Ross? Was almost a decade, right? Or was it more?
Yeah, I think somewhere around 10.
So for people, and again, to each their own, but for the people who say, oh yeah, guys murder, this, that, and the third, like, well, at the end of the day, what's really important to realize is that website like these, kind of like pure DeFi, right? At the end of the day, nobody's forcing nobody to go and interact with those sites. If you decide to go interact with those sites, you have to learn to take responsibility for your own action. You can't blame somebody for your action because you decided to do X, Y, Z. Now, that being said, is someone so illegal? Yeah, absolutely. But the guy spent over a decade in prison. I think he paid his time, and it's good that he returned back to society. So that's a little parenthesis because I saw a comment here on the chat. But it's like, it's not like the guy was just there for like a week and then he's out. Like he spent over a decade over there. So if anything, the sentence is a little bit overdue. And they really wanted to shut him down. Not so much about that. They wanted to shut him down because he created something that was potentially unstoppable. That's really the main reason.
Right, like we like Kincaid Honey. He's like the youngest, longest hex staker and is into longevity and has spoken at hex conferences with Richard Hart and stuff. So like definitely respect there. Like I also, like I've heard different opinions on Ross. The comment here says that he's a murderer because he was, creating a marketplace that dealt drugs, leading to 6 overdose deaths. I think, that it can be true that he did something wrong there in terms of being a drug dealer. I think that, we don't always arrest doctors or the people who make addictive drugs or drugs that ruin tens of thousands of people's lives. Ross definitely did the amount of time that you would see, with somebody who committed manslaughter. The particular, I think part of the reason that Trump pardoned him is because of the fact that Ross was framed by corrupt FBI agents for, murder for hire type thing, where they made him paranoid again, because they had agenda against crypto. They made him paranoid. And, that's what ended up getting him the 2.5 life sentences was not, having a drug marketplace, but it was being somebody who created a use case for Bitcoin and being somebody who fell into the entrapment. So,
absolutely. And that's the key, right? Again, I can only speak for myself, but to recap what Maddie just said, what I said earlier, it's like, I don't know the guy personally. I'm not trying to say the guy's an angel, but again, spending over a decade in prison for something like that, when again, he provided the marketplace, but he wasn't the one actually selling the thing. He wasn't the one actually making the drug. We all know there's plenty of drug dealer dealing drugs to this day, every day. They don't get caught on or whatever. So those are the ones that should be, again, the one that should be getting arrested. And the main thing is, I think he was targeted not because of the drug, but because of, again, the framing that Maddie's talk about, and the fact that, again, he created a marketplace, crypto, where basically everything goes and can't be stopped. That's why he got targeted. If it was just your simple, mom and pop drug dealer down the corner, this, that, and third, some of the authority don't even care about that. It's the fact that you created something that can potentially be unstoppable. Kind of the main reason why powers that be that want to control you don't like crypto, because it gives you that level of freedom. So they'll find an excuse to shut you down. But what they're shutting you down for publicly, that they say, is not, I repeat, is not the real reason they want to shut you down. Because if that was, plenty of those other people who are doing the same exact thing, who are roaming around every day and not getting caught and not getting arrested, right? It's not a double standard. So I just want people to not fall for that. Understand the real reason.
Can I make a comment? I'm gonna
Please.
go. I'm gonna go off topic a little bit, right? Because I don't know enough about Ross, and I don't know enough about the marketplace. But I'm not in favor of it being legal to have a marketplace where people can hire other people to kill you. So
Exactly.
I just want to say I'm not in favor of any of that. Right now, the drug thing is triggering though. And so, yeah, I heard a lot of friends say they did a lot of stuff with Silk Road, but when, this has nothing to do with crypto. But let's take a step away, right? I'm a little bit older than you guys. There was a big, fierce war against weed. Marijuana, whatever name you want to call it, MJ. In the 70s, it started, right? And so by the time I went in the military, like I would go to jail, like if I was smoking. Right.
Yep.
Lose my job, lose my career. Right. And of course, in the federal space, that's still how it is today. But over these it almost feels like a century, but over these decades, things changed a lot. And one of the things I hope that the president does address, and I really hope he gets to it and can do it. There are way too many people that are behind bars for life for selling something now that I walk down the street, I can't get away from it. I can't walk down the street and smoke a cigar without getting hassled. But man, anybody wants to smoke weed in the hotel lobby, you guys know what I'm talking about. Elevator. Am I against? If people aren't hurting each other, I'm marginally okay with that, right? I don't want somebody breathing smoke into, just like I don't with a cigar, right, into somebody's face, right? But my point is, there are way too many people that are in jail for life for weed, having marijuana, selling marijuana, and okay, maybe the guys and ladies who are running around with pounds, right? Maybe that's what they deserve. But there's way too many examples of people that 3 strikes laws put them in jail forever.
Exactly. No, very well said. And that's what summarized it all, which is like, again, things were a certain way, and then a decade went by and things got changed. The same way where in some part of the country, marijuana is literally almost recommended for people for certain, combating certain condition, disease, whatever you want to call it. So it's like things has changed. And all I'm saying is the guy's not a saint, but the guy spent a decade in prison. So it's not like he didn't pay a hefty price for quote unquote what he did. So that way he should address the people who think that, he's not innocent, this, that. Yeah, but you forget the part where he spent a decade in prison. So it's like, and then it also shows that we're ready to move on, so to speak. And remember the quote unquote crime. He wasn't the one making the drugs. He provided the marketplace. Yes, although that is also bad, but it's not the same thing. It's kind of like saying, hey, I actually killed somebody and I really wanted to, versus like, I was the, wrong place at the wrong time. And yeah, I contributed. Yes, you deserve to pay a price, but it's not the same as the person that went and, pulled the trigger and did the actual deed. So that's why I think it's a good thing that the guy's out. So overall.
Hey, guess what? Richard tweeted something along the lines of our thumbnail here. So let me just catch everybody up on the context of the thumbnail, and then we'll go over what Richard tweeted. So I tweeted this earlier this afternoon. I had done a deep dive. Why did Vitalik call his father Milady on X?
He did?
And I've linked to the tweet down here where he did that.
I saw that.
And the reason he did is, of course, Milady's like internet slang for like thanks, or like a lot of other like weird nichey things to say. But basically
a little bit like LARPing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was as thanks for defending Vitalik against quote unquote violence, which was a follower not agreeing with him on Twitter. So I said, ETH is in a full civil war, paralyzing the price. What's the latest ETH drama about? Vitalik admitted he chose the head of the new head of the Ethereum Foundation, Aya. I just said Tamagotchi because it kind of sounds like that. Aya Tamagotchi, to enforce his vision of not winning.
Not winning.
Vitalik doesn't want the ETH price going up. And this is me summarizing like lots of stuff and like, you know, kind of giving my own opinion, but he wants cheap fees, world computer, in it for the tech, socialist, bug eating, anti-human.
What?
The price maxis in Ethereum are pissed, calling Tamagotchi a centralized decision. On top of which Vitalik said, like, yeah, this is how the game works. I'm in charge of picking who's in charge of the Ethereum Foundation. And Ethereum Foundation has also been like accused lately by the price maxis of not using Ethereum for anything. And then they responded, no, we use Ethereum a lot to like dump ETH on your guys' heads, right? And this is part of like the tension that's happening, the civil war that's happening over like the price of Ethereum. Like basically, is the leadership in Ethereum, are they focused on winning in terms of price going up or not? And so Vitalik announced 3 days ago, as a part of this whole like culture shock, his roadmap for continuing, and I quote his own words, that they would continue feminized WEF soy boy mentality.
What?
He used the words, we will continue feminized WEF soy boy mentality. He used those exact words in quotes. Okay. And you can just search that and find his tweet and the context of it.
Was he high?
Okay. So, no, he's pissed. He's pissed about the politics of the country, and he's pissed about all the price maxis hating on him and his like technology. He's in it for the tech, right? So I made the assumption here, like I, you know, further speculated that Ethereans are so cooked, they'll be begging to port their full stacks to PulseChain, the #1 ETH fork. Pulsicans are winning maximalists who have been gatekept by the corrupt SEC, Coinbase, and centralized finance for 2 years. With Trump in office, the gates are falling. Welcome to PulseChain. Remember when we used to say, come win with us?
Yeah.
We love you.
And then we've got a picture
Shout out
of
to X Monkey
Tamagotchi
in the
with
chat, you know, for the super chat, the $9. But I agree. It's like, although at time only like Ethereum PulseChain, now I think like I only like. I mean, and then was Vitalik hacked?
No. This he has double, triple, quadrupled down on this idea, and he means it when he says. And so, like, who was it? This the first like Bitcoin reporter chick, what's her name? Laura Shin. She like, you know, was trying to provide context. Like, I wrote a whole book about Vitalik and like how weird he is and how like, you know, ever since Ethereum launched, he was pissed about like the price maxis, blah, blah, blah. So this is not something new, but it's something that's erupted in the past 3 days. Now let's see what Richard Hart commented about this whole ETH drama now that you guys are a little bit caught up on like the context.
Cool. Let's do it.
Richard said, I like Ethereum more than most people. Lots more. I really want ETH to do well. The Ethereum Foundation says they don't want to compete against other blockchains and, quote, say no to the culture of competing and winning. I believe the absolute opposite. And then in bold, he says, I fully endorse competing and winning. So much, it's even in my name here. In 2014, then he tags Vitalik, said, quote, the internet of money should not cost 5 cents per transaction. It's kind of absurd. Today, ETH costs 10 times that. PulseChain helps lower those fees. And the more people that take advantage of their free coins on PulseChain, the lower those ETH fees can go. PulseChain is the best attempt I can think of to help Ethereum. It's a real L1, not a risky centralized L2, where you're in real trouble if they turn off the centralized sequencer base. He didn't tweet that, but I added that.
Sometimes I'm based. Yeah.
Right. Then Richard says, it also doesn't have centralized validators because everyone runs their own individual nodes instead of signing up to some middleman to run validators for them. PulseChain also has higher throughput and lower inflation while being at its core almost entirely Ethereum because the code is almost entirely Ethereum's code. Now in bold, Ethereum is PulseChain's test net.
I love that. That's great. This is totally true.
That was actually a really popular Bitcoin statement for one of the forks of Bitcoin that I got into around the same time as Hex. So that's actually like a really good narrative to say Ethereum is PulseChain's testnet. That's like tried and true. Mimblewimble said that, and they're still around, and they're at a new all-time high.
Yeah.
How many cryptos are at a new all-time high that competed with Bitcoin? Almost none.
No diddy.
So he says Ethereum is PulseChain's testnet.
Features.
Ethereum mainnet gets are tested, or is he talking about gets?
Testing production. Yeah, no, that's true. Feature Ethereum mainnet. Yeah.
Oh, gets.
Yeah, gets. Every time they get a new feature, right?
Okay.
The mainnet gets are
tested in production before PulseChain might get them. That's safer. Yep. The most popular DEX on PulseChain is PulseX, and it burns coins constantly and can never inflate. And since PulseX is traded so many places, since
so many things.
PulseX is traded versus so many things, it helps a ton. Learn Hart's law to understand why. PulseChain is the best attempt I've seen at making Ethereum better. You may even have free coins waiting for you there. Literally millions of people do. Go check. GoPulse.com.
And he just
if you're
posted
already
earlier today about PWBTC, right? Like copied
$3,000 Bitcoin. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
And that pumped up like an extra 20% today because of that I saw.
Oh yeah, at least 20-25 after he did the tweet. It was pumping before, but it like pumped a bunch after.
Yeah, the whole ecosystem pumped like 10% today. You know what I mean? And you said if you're already secure, marketing is king, which is true. ETH needs marketing. That's fact. He's saying the fact, and he's willing to help. So it's like it's like if those people start to see the light and understand that, you know, we're trying to help you, we're in this together, and then you literally has no negative externality being part of this because helping Pulse help ETH, period. Especially if you got free copy. Why would you not? Same way with the, you know, believe it or not, but if the parity scenario thing goes up, that's a way to help everybody on ETH who have their copy double their value without worrying so much about fees getting worse because you get to transact elsewhere and then lower the volume of transaction. Because if, let's say, 10 to 15% of ETH transaction were to migrate on PulseChain, right? All of a sudden, it will lower the fees because they transact less over there and more on the other side. So it's a win-win. The same way over time we have seen load on ETH move to L2s in general.
I mean, if there's 5% liquidity in most coins on Ethereum, you know, with like ETH or USDC paired to like whatever the coin is, let's just take the example of like Doge Elon Mars, then like that means that you only need to vampire attack 5% of the users who hold the coins, not even anybody who holds the liquidity. And you can literally vampire attack that entire liquidity over to PulseChain. Like, so there's incredible possibility. Like PulseChain hasn't even gotten started yet. And, you know, here we go with the founder. Like,
you're not bullish enough, man.
Right.
You can bridge any asset on Ethereum to PulseChain. Like, if there's enough of it, there'll be some utility created. Like, you know, if you want to bridge like $500,000 worth of Lido DAO to PulseChain from Ethereum, go ahead. We'll make you a farm, right? Like we're that kind of community, right? Like if you're going to bring value, we'll take care of you. So
message fast Abdoul. So to finish Richard's tweet, he says, "Why survive when you can thrive? Go get them, Ethereum. The better you do, the better we do."
Exactly.
Ouch.
True.
That's a banger.
Oh, what was that quote in the picture?
It's hard to like catch the context here, but it's a Wired article. It says Zen and the art of shifting mindsets in technology. Aya Tamaguchi Tamagotchi, Mayaguchi, whatever. Another principle we have at the Ethereum Foundation is stewardship of the community values. People in the community are of course happy when Ethereum grows, and that feeling often translates to wanting to compete against other blockchains or other projects. We try very hard to push back that sort of sentiment. This is a reference to Ethereum being against winning, being against competition, as he said at the beginning of the tweet.
Which is hilarious.
I find it interesting that the line about marketing there, right? Like if you're already secure, marketing is king. So to me, that implies that he is well aware of marketing and that there could be some on the way when things are secure, whatever that means.
And it makes sense. And it's about auto elimination. Secure means that you build a secure blockchain, right? Secure, like you don't have to worry about, because that's the number one risk. But we always say, you wake up and then the blockchain stop, or you wake up and your money is gone. Well, it's not safe. Or just like when we onboard everybody, what's the rule number one, right? Security, right? Private key, put that away, learn how to do all those things safely. Because what's the point of putting something that turns into a lot of money and then you lost the key, right? Your number one enemy is yourself. It wasn't some fancy hack. It's just you lost your stuff. So we always talk about security first, right? And also not doing something stupid where somebody can fish you. But then when that is, let's say, done, understood, taken care of, what's the next best thing? It's like, well, you bought the thing. Well, talk about it. Spread the word, right? All that is marketing, right? Onboarding, talking, sharing your experience, all those basic things. Direct mail, instead of just wasting money. Like all of that boils down to one thing: marketing, doing stream, being on social media, whether it is Twitter, Instagram, whatever you feel comfortable, TikTok, whatever. All that is marketing. So when security is taken care of as number one priority, number two, right there, literally not even 1, 2, number two. It's more like 1A, 1B. 1B is marketing, period. 2 will just be like more like, community, doing gatherings, or, as you grow, like how to organize things, mobilize community. Yes. But 1A and 1B, it's security and marketing. That's it.
These RH tweets make me way more bullish. I definitely needed this, this messaging, like
active,
that. That's really good.
And as Bitcoin go for another run, possibly another all-time high before the end of the month, Ethereum should start to wake up and then push in that direction. Because again, a lot of the things that Maddie's talking about is also reflected in the price. Because if has been kind of stuck into that zone of 3K to 4K. Of course, before it was below 3K, that was even harder, that last dip. But then we knew that was because a lot of the ETF were focused on Bitcoin. Now the ETF are starting to rotate into ETH, which is cool. But that infighting is bad marketing, is bad publicity. This is actually has been one of the reasons why Solana has been gaining a lot of the ETH money, so to speak. It wasn't so much about the meme coin stuff. Yes, the meme coin did start a little saga, but it's probably because of what Maddie's talking about, like lack of vision, infighting, and people don't know what's going on. So what some investors can do is like, well, we don't really know what Ethereum is doing. And then we may not have a long-term vision for what Ethereum wants to do. So they might jump ship. Only those who have really, really long-term value will stick around, like ourselves. But also, instead of just sticking around, it's good to try and help it too. You know what I mean? Instead of just waiting and hoping that they figure their stuff out by themselves. So, and this is why hopefully when they get that figured out and things start to move the right way, and even the Trump administration is going to help, because again, some of their biggest DeFi product is on there, right? The Liberty Finance thing, it's on ETH. A lot of the money that came from the meme coin got migrated to ETH. That's very, very important. It goes to show, again, you have your fund and your 100x whatever on meme coin, but then when you feel like the party is over, or when you want to migrate that money and store it somewhere safer, so to speak, for the long run, well, Ethereum is the play, because that's what they've been doing. So when you combine those two things, we get the what we need from the SEC in terms of the new SEC, the new guidance, hopefully the judgment from Auntie Carol, and then off to the races.
Who is this Auntie Carol?
The judge. I'm putting something.
Judge Amon.
The name was so catchy. because she looked like she's like very friendly, and then she gets it. It's rare to go to or see court stuff and see a judge that knows so much about crypto. Like, I don't know about you guys, but Maddie, I was impressed. I was like, yo, judge knows stuff. Like, you know,
Oh yeah.
she asked all the right thing, and then she got me. I was dying. It was so good when she says, like, basically, like, where's the blockchain? When
Right.
they're like, wait a minute. Like, you can't just snug this under the rug. You have to prove it. Where's the blockchain? Your Honor, we don't.
Right.
Burden is on you to prove, not the other guy. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I mean, I would hang out with her at family functions. Like,
She's very sharp. You can
Sweet.
tell she knows stuff, which is not always easy. You know what I mean? For Judge, who, like, I think was that her first crypto case? It looked like it was, but anyway,
no, it was not her first crypto case. She had like a decision prior in the debt box case.
okay. So second, but it's
And-
very refreshing
yeah.
to see a judge that spend the time to really, really learn what is she that she's gonna judge on. Because believe it or
Right.
not, some of them don't. They just show up and then whatever they hear, and they'll just go based on that.
Both teams of lawyers were trying to relate issues from the Hex case to the debt box case because judges like it when you connect the dots for them on like their own prior decisions and like give importance to that, and like it has it's like binding within their jurisdiction and that kind of stuff.
yep.
So
And show that you believe in her judgment, so to speak. Because
Right.
You're basically quoting her, right? Who doesn't want to be
Right.
quoted, right?
right.
It's cool. But the cool thing about it is, like, she really, really understood what the issue was. So that's why I'm confident that, again, no timeline, but I'm really confident that we're gonna get at least a partial dismiss. So, but wait and see.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Nice. Hopefully very soon. And
Yeah.
it definitely could be soon, right? Like the
Yeah.
timeline fits.
Based on the timeline, what was the date for the 90 days? Somewhere around like January 29th, or basically end of the month. But like Maddie perfectly said last week, there's no guarantee, meaning like there's no rule that says, oh, you have to reply within 90 days. It could be longer, so that way we set proper expectation. But it also means that once we hit, I look at it like once we hit that 90 day and up, at any day you could wake up and boom, something is announced.
Right.
That's what I look at it. So yeah. Meanwhile, market's doing good. Unless there's another topic, Maddie, I think I can do a quick run on the market stuff.
Oh,
Unless there's
yeah,
another-
there's the issue of like the hex badges.
Oh, go ahead. Address that. I'll be right back.
Let's
I
see.
don't need no stinking badge.
I like them stuff. I don't need them, but I like them.
I like them though.
And I like
I
that
like
you have them, Crispy. That makes me happy. But let's talk about it.
Yeah, I put out a tweet saying that like the hex badges would be discontinued for a number of reasons that I stated, and there was overwhelming support that came out for it. So now that's being reconsidered, and I think there's a couple hours left for people to like vote on my post of like whether you think the badges should be continued or not. I think the decision has to be made in the next few days, but there were questions of like funding and like harassment and stuff like that. So I'll just drop a link to the tweet here of where you can vote and say whether you think that's a good idea or not.
Vote no. Vote no. It's bad. I'm unbiased.
But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of overwhelming support like for the badges, which got an extra 78,000 got an extra 78 million views over the past year for Hex on Twitter. And so, I think we'll have to see like what this sustainability is going forward and like what the sentiment is. But at this point, I'm kind of walking it back to like, this still needs to be decided versus it's definitely going away.
Fair enough. We will respect your decision, sir. But I like the badges.
Right. Yeah. That's become more clear now that Yeah, and like there's always been this idea that like the badges would go away if people were like breaking the rules and like like of Twitter.
Let's address what Falcon said and Falcon Crypto said in the chat. So I don't think everybody understands what the badges are for. It's not just to have a badge. It increases the algorithm, matches the number of people that see your views. So when Maddie's talking about the millions of views of the community, that's what he's talking about. It's something that if you pay as an organization, you get boosted.
Get doubled. It says Twitter explicitly says you get double the organic views.
The reason I bring it up is
marketing. This is
the reason
awesome
I bring it up is because
targeted
Falcon,
marketing.
Yeah, exactly. As Falcon. Well, I guess my point was this: you're not recognizing it as marketing, and like Fast Abdoul just said, it's 100% marketing. This is like one of the first places you would start. So yeah, I get you. Everybody can have a different opinion, sure, but it's definitely marketing.
Yeah, it's not just a prestige thing, and there's certainly an element of that. But that if people are focusing on that, that's not the point. It's like we want our best people to get seen by more people. And if that will help with that, then it's a huge advantage to Hex to have that badge. There's if you check out the cost of paid marketing on Twitter, it would far exceed the value that's gone into this to get the same results.
Yep, and also another twist I threw out to people listening, and I mentioned this to Maddie as well. So I had to choose between being a PulseChain badge or a Hex badge. So one possible outcome is for there only to be one single badge, because in a way that is that's uniting. It's a unification. But I also am proud of the Hex badge. That's why I got the Hex, because I like talking about Hex, and that's primarily what I'm interested in. So. And it's the Maddie Not Here show. Let's go.
Okay.
He's having some equipment problems in the background. He'll be back.
Let's take over. Let's start talking about. Oh, he's back. Hi, Maddie.
And we're back.
I'm back.
I don't know if Falcon, you might,
yet.
Yeah, so Falcon's having a conversation with us in the chat, but he or she may be right.
It's absolutely provable, and I've published a tweet on this that we're getting many times our money instead of doing paid ads. So I've run paid ads, and I've reviewed like the exact number of views that we're getting. The program on a whole is getting like 9 million extra views for Hex badges and 6 million extra views for PulseChain badges every month. And if you break down the cost of that per year, I had found that instead of $70,000 per year, that the absolute minimum that you could pay to get that kind of advertising is $440,000. Now, sometimes advertising is 10 times as expensive as that. So it's somewhere in between about $0.4, or it's somewhere in between like, $500,000 and $4 million worth of advertising that we're getting for $70,000. So it's
this is probably way more targeted too, like hitting the right people way more, getting shared way more, community interaction, which further boosts the thing. Like that, the algorithm is definitely geared that this is a win.
To me, it just makes sense, common sense. Why would Elon Musk or people on Twitter create a program that costs money if they're not going to do what they said they're going to do, which is boost your content? And I know that we have great content. It's just we've been attacked against, shadow banning, so to speak, for lack of visibility. So I know that when we get something that gives us visibility, we will naturally blow some, because again, our content is great. It just needs to be seen. And then of course, over multiple times, then you organically can also grow a following too. So, which is good. So, but Maddie, but what's the again? I didn't follow the full thing, but what's the issue now? It's like, is it because it's getting close to renew and people are complaining, or is it like I don't know. I just saw a tweet here and there, so I don't know. So I was hoping to understand what's the
well, I think it's like $10,000 a year per badge, right? And then it's got to be part of an organization. You have to declare yourself an organization. And so when Maddie originally set it up, he declared it as the Hex conference, right? For the Hex badge, the PulseChain conference for the PulseChain badge. And so then by paying the fee, the $10,000 for a year, it gives you X number of people who can get boosted. Right. And hey, and
Well, so
considering the numbers that you could have, so many people didn't even take advantage of it.
But to my understanding,
so that's partially true. So like it's $12,000 a year, and then you have to pay an extra $50 per person per month, which comes out to $600 per year per person. Now, if you split the $12K for each organization by the people who, were part of the program, it comes out to about $900 per badge per year. And the first year has like run out, so like all promises have been fulfilled, quote unquote, like quote unquote promises, because it was really run more like, like where, it's like it wasn't up to me, like whether the program would get taken away, because that's what the Twitter rules say, is like they can like take away all the money that you've paid at any time. And like, because you violated the rules. And so I carefully read the rules and like tried to set up the program so that everybody was following them. If they decided that we weren't really an organization, well, that would have really been a mess. And so, like that by doing it under the umbrella of the organization that is a real organization called the Hex Conference, that allowed us to take advantage of this super powerful, marketing tool. And I would also like to point out that I'm very proud of the fact that I did not police people's speech or tell them what they could or couldn't say throughout the year, because they were a holder of a Hex badge, unlike the Bitcoin conference organizers who did patrol people's speech, like Robert Breedlove and Lynn Ulbricht, Ross Ulbricht's mom. And so like, I'm particularly proud that we found like a better way to have, like leadership within a decentralized community. And, it wouldn't have been without the Real God Whales donation, and it wouldn't have been without so many of the people who had the badges, like donating their own money in order to make this program work for the year that we've run it so far. And so, there's, I think, a human psychology to like, to try to fight with people when there's, when there is like leadership involved. Like everybody who has a badge, like they took this step of leadership to donate, their time or money or both to the organization, but also they agreed to follow the rules of, one, not bullying each other, and two, not breaking the rules of Twitter to threaten everybody else's badges. Now, we also know that social media companies don't always play by their own rules. So for example, when I added Richard to the PulseChain badges, everybody who had a PulseChain badge lost their badge because of some glitch in the system. And so, like, that's something that showed me, I'm not being paranoid. Like, I'm not being controlling. Like, I'm literally playing the game to the best of my ability to be able to tell people, like, you're not allowed to break the rules. Like, there are no guarantees in this game. Like, and so that's why, like the limits that I've put on the program, that's why they've been there, is not because I want to exclude anybody. I want to control anybody's speech. Like, I'm very proud of how the program has gone, because we've had a year where the badges didn't get taken away and where people, got to double their organic reach.
That's good. I like this comment. The last comment that just came in. Somebody that says, I can vouch that Hex social media reach working. I joined the community June 2024. From coming across the content, never interacted before. I read a few message on X feed, me posting content, and he hooked me. So
Wow, that's really cool. Digital Money Marcus, shout out to you.
Yeah, proof of concept, right?
So Maddie, is the 1 year up already?
Yeah. So the program's been around for a year, and now it's a matter of like, funding it and like, just basically making sure that everybody understands the rules of the game. And like, I don't particularly like people hating on me, because they don't understand it. And so, the rules, they have to be clear in order for a decentralized community to reach a consensus about something. And that's one of the reasons why I put up the tweet. Like there have been lots of people, like I see somebody in the comments, like suggesting other ways to do this, and that's, that's noted, but in reality, there are all these hidden costs to doing a program like this. And so I think that like running things democratically is really dumb in this type of a situation, because we already saw that we've already run that experiment where basically people got their accounts shut down because they were letting too many people do the decision making on something that, has to have like clear leadership. And so I'm not against other people trying to replicate and improve upon my experiment. However, I like, already know all the headaches and problems and like, costs that go along with this type of leadership. And so, it's like, it's really important to understand none of the decisions in the program were made lightly.
Well, couldn't I go create my own organization and get my own badges and fund it myself?
If you had a legitimate organization, you might have some success there. So
you have to be able to prove that you're part of the organization, though, right?
So people
you can't hand out 1 million of them. You have to, and the Hex conference provides proof because people are on the screen. They're part of the organization.
Right.
Well, I'm not arguing against continuing the Hex or the Pulse, right? I'm just saying, if there might be some people listening thinking, hey, I'd like my own badge, well, go get one.
Go for it. Custom badges. Yeah. It'll only cost you $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 to set up an organization. And herd some cats to do your own conference. It'll be so easy.
And then they can be the king of whatever they're doing with their badges, my lady.
My lady. So I support other conferences, and it breaks my heart when they get taken down for music violations and all the other things that can go wrong. But keep up the good work out there. And in terms of like specific cases, all I can say is like, people not participating or having like no use of their badge or like breaking the rules. Those are all things that like, caused some badges to disappear faster than others. And so I'm rethinking the strategy here now that all quote unquote promises have been met. And the overwhelming feedback that I've gotten about the badges like in the past 24 hours has been like, maybe we should keep these, maybe we should save these. There were a lot of people who were not complaining that turn out to outnumber the people who were complaining. And I think that,
Maddie,
that
so what does that look like? I'm just trying to help the viewer understand. What does that look like if you want to keep the badge, or if those who have the badge want to keep them? What does that look like? Do they just keep on the monthly subscription, or do they have to come up with another big down payment or something? Again, I don't know. I'm just asking. What does that look like?
Right now, it looks like you want to go vote and show your support for keeping the Hex badges. I have a tweet that has like another 7 hours left on it. So you can go like, show your support, or, maybe you support keeping them, maybe you support destroying them. So let's get a feel for that. And then tomorrow I can make a decision of like, where things go from here. 'Cause the renewal is up like, in like 2 or 3 days. So, that'll have to be decided. And, if the program like continues to have overwhelming support, then, like the financial aspect, that's probably something I would work out myself, like for now. And then, there'd have to be, you know, some sort of funding mechanism set up for that.
Okay, understood. Well, there you have it, fellas. You heard it from Maddie.
Now we know.
I mean, it kind of like touches on some of the themes that we've talked about with, like, you know, the Ethereum civil war and, like, you know, these issues of decentralized leadership. But yeah, I think, like, at the end of the day, we're still figuring out how all this stuff works with, like, you know, having a shelling point to shell, and also, you know, having, you know, a better system than existed before, for example, with the Bitcoin conference censoring people's speech and the hex badges not censoring people's speech.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. Cool. So, kind of really important stuff happening with the macro right now, Kareem.
We're going to $10 million of Bitcoin. That's what I heard. 10 million, maybe.
I mean, trajectory. Fun fact: he did a new all-time high tomorrow. So you know, like it, love it, hate it. It's just what it is. I mean,
it's right. It's ride or die time, baby.
Yeah, ride or die time. So when you look at the chart, right? Hold on, Maddie, if I can go, then I'll just share my screen real quick.
That'd be great.
All right, perfect. Boom. The fun stuff. The window. Time screen. Yay. Share. And second. Boom. Let me know when you can see the screen. So literally, right? This is on the weekly chart, which I love. But if I just go back daily real quick, you get to see how briefly for a second yesterday, right? The high was 109,590. So we made technically a new all-time high briefly yesterday. So it's doing the same pattern that it's known to be doing, right? Runs a lot, cool off, then runs again. So when you bring it back to weekly, just to get the bigger picture, it's doing what it was doing here. But just like when you have a parabola, every major leg up, the time that you wait here is sometime on average cut in half, right? So half the time that it took here in terms of weekly looks like this might be it, because it's creating a new high. It might be going, and it's following the path that he has been going on for a while. So I wouldn't be surprised when I did that major move here from this bull flag, which was basically drawn here. This is why you hear a lot of people saying, and influencers, hey, 118,000, 120,000 is in the play. If you go fully extended, 135,000. So this is something where once we cross 100K solid, if BTC ratio finally, you know, recover from here, because this was kind of like a formation of a bottom, but then the infighting probably created a little bit of puking over here, and a lot of the money going to Solana, because probably chasing meme coin and a Trump coin, that created this extra leg down here, because we were forming a bottom around here, but now we went back towards here. But I always look at this zone as a key structure because it comes back to roughly where we were before in terms of support. So as long as we stay around here and we finally finish bottoming, if BTC start doing candle like here, it's going to send Ethereum back to where it needs to be, which is right around, first of all, this moving average here, 4.5, and then this moving average over here, which is 6.1% of a Bitcoin. Why is that important? Is because if Bitcoin can maintain the six figures, right, back to what was here, and then start going around 120,000, so to speak, now all of a sudden 4.5 to 6% of a Bitcoin in terms of ratio, that's how you can get Ethereum easily to, you know, $6,000 to $7,000, which would be great because it will make PulseChain and all the core coin be very, very good. So, but just in terms of recap, market is doing good in terms of all the good decisions that's been happening, the Ross Ulbricht situation. So I won't be surprised if at the end of the week, it closed very bullish, makes a new high, and get ready for another following week. Bitcoin looks like it was looking right around here, right? Starting to make a new high and then progressing. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a continuation pattern there, which is really, really good. Another cool thing that we want to see is we want to see the Bitcoin dominance continue to make lower highs and then collapsing. So kind of did over here. Over the weekend, again, we had a little kind of breakout. But the good news is, as long as on the weekly, it doesn't make a new high and close above this zone over here, which is about almost 59% of a Bitcoin, I can't see why it start going back down. And again, it needs to break the moving average. Once you break the moving average and start going down, this is when we get the massive alt season, all everything loose, going crazy, and all that kind of good stuff. That's what we want to see. Now, in terms of pure DeFi play, couple of coins that I always want to look at that's usually doing well is, start with that. You got BNB looking good, ready to potentially do like Bitcoin, continuation pattern. Hasn't broke down the EMA, so pushing towards the way it's supposed to be. When you look at Coinbase, same thing, did the recovery. Looks like it wants to continue the right way as well. When you look at Aave, especially Aave Compound, look at that. This is where it's good. Now it's bullish on the weekly. It's crossing bullish, and it's very close to basically previous all-time high of like back in 2021. So you get the big cup. Maybe it's going to do a little handle, but it looks like it wants to fly. Aave Compound, those are great projects because it's pure DeFi play on it, obviously Ethereum, but it's related to the same function that what Hex does, which is really, really good. And when you combine that with, we had a strong DXY dollar, but it started to puke down, which is really, really good because it did that top, just like I said last week. Hopefully this is the top right around 109. 109, 110, and now it's starting to gap down, which is good because just like when we had here, when they start to print money like crazy, which they're going to need, right? Because the new administration, for those who forgot, we have $7 trillion of debt we have to refinance this year. And now that Trump is officially in power, it's going to help because A, he doesn't like a strong dollar anyway because it's bad for business. B, we have all this debt we have to refinance, and we have to fund the government for the new fiscal year. So when you have a strong dollar and then you start to print, it's like you build the buffer necessary that you need because this is not normal how they're doing this. So we might get a new phase where it's going to start looking like this or like that. And usually when that happens, weaker dollar is the best thesis for crypto because why does crypto go up? Typically because dollar loses value, right? Dollar strengthen is good when you travel overseas because you can spend that money over there. But if you stay in America, strong dollar doesn't help you because, again, everything that you buy and pay is in dollars. So you need a weaker dollar to then get your asset to go up, so to speak. So DXY is starting to go down on a weekly basis, which is really, really good. So once it closes on Sunday, that's going to be bullish reversal. There's a high chance that it might start going all the way down to the moving average, which is around 104, 105. Which just that move alone, that can help Bitcoin go to like $115,000, $120,000. So DXY going down, which is good. And also 10-year yield has also topped, literally following the dollar, right? Because for those who remember, the macros, they have a lot of correlation to one another, right? Because the stronger the yield goes, the more money comes into the US because they're chasing the yield, right? Makes sense. Because once again, why get 1.5% when I can get 4.5 to 5%? So stronger yield, dollar gets strengthened. But then also conversely, when the yields start to go down and also money printing increases, then the dollar also goes down because again, the correlation goes hand in hand together. So 10-year yield going down, looking to be toppy, which is good. 2-year yield as well. If we're lucky, they start trending back towards the previous low of, September 2024, same as this one here, September 2024. And it helps the market because the weaker the yields are with the weaker dollar, the easy people can borrow money, so to speak. So cheaper dollar allow more borrowing, which then allow asset prices to go up. So we're looking really, really good. Now it just needs to continue to trend down. And again, don't be surprised if you start seeing Trump being on the news. He's famous to do that. He's done it, his previous turn where he's going to start tweeting directly at the Federal Reserve and talking about how yields are high and Federal Reserve should lower rates and all this other stuff. He's very famous to literally put pressure on Powell to be like, hey, lower rates, so to speak. But ultimately, the real boogeyman we got to watch out for is inflation. We got really lucky, like I said last week. As long as the CPI core data comes lower, that's good. And it did came lower, which is good. But we're not out of the woodwork yet. We're still in the high twos. It needs to continue to go down. The further down it goes, the better it's going to be for market, crypto, everything correlated Gold had a nice little bounce too, which is good because he's usually the one that gets to run first. When gold start to run, that means they're about to print money because that's usually the one that can sniff inflation first. Then gold pump, and once gold pump, then you get a rotation from gold into crypto. So the fact that it's trending like it wants to do a new all-time high, it's also a bullish things, which is good. You know, SPY, SPX, they're all looking similar. They're all looking like the gold chart, which didn't look like the Bitcoin chart. So everything looks really, really good. The only reason why I added XRP here to see what it's doing is because XRP is going to be, whether we like it or not, it's going to be the coin that's going to help the Bitcoin dominance go down, which is what we need to see in order for alt season to go. So the higher XRP goes, because it's a big altcoin, technically after Ethereum is basically the biggest, the higher it goes, the more this thing is going to start going down, which is going to signal the market that all bets are off and it's time to go crazy. So, which is why it's pretty good. So now it's just a combination. And also the last one that I have added here is MicroStrategy, because obviously it's the leverage Bitcoin play. It's rebounding as well. So that means that people are expecting most likely Bitcoin to go on a run, which is why it's really good. So when you sum everything up, you realize that we're moving in the right directions. Ethereum is finally doing a bounce recovery because a lot of, you see those red vector candle, people were literally trying to short Ethereum last week like crazy, but it found a way to still close back up. So now we just need to allow it to go up as long as some of the dysfunctional going to ETH kind of stop down. This thing is going to naturally rise. It just needs to continue to trend the right way. ETH BTC just needs to recover, and then Ethereum can literally broke back towards the 4K and continue. But hopefully we don't hear anything nonsense on the Ethereum Foundation anytime soon. But it's gearing to be continuing into the phase that we're looking for, which is the mega alt season. So, because as ETH rise, as well as also XRP and all this other stuff, again, Bitcoin dominance needs to crack below 57 again. When that starts happening, mark my word, every alts, and for the most part, they're going to start doing those crazy double digits, 20, 30% every other day like it's nothing. So hopefully this is where the reversal happens as the market continues to rise. And then now we're getting this good momentum where when Bitcoin rise, ETH rise as well, but rise a little bit more. So this is the cool thing about Bitcoin dominance going down during alt season. It's like Bitcoin's still going up, but every other coin, all the big caps are going higher faster, which helps, which then will make, obviously, you know, PulseChain and the core coins, PulseX and everything continue their trend upwards, because we do need a good Ethereum. The higher Ethereum goes, the faster we can pump as well, due to bonding liquidity and the PulseChain to ETH ratio being a key component of that. So in conclusion, some of the volatility we needed to see has already happened. We're good to go. Trump is in power. Executive order came in. All that is in a good place. Now it's just allowing markets to continue to digest the data. And we don't have any major Federal Reserve or inflation talk or potential, you know, yield reduction until the end of the month. So right now it's just cruise control. As long as keep good news for crypto keep coming up, we should be averaging somewhere around, you know, 5 to 10% every other day increase, and it's trending up. Not necessarily a crazy pump, but just continue to trend up, because right now no news is good news, because we got all the bullish thing we need to see, and we don't have any major inflation meeting until the end of the month, so, or by my birthday, February 3rd. So another big event would just be like Super Bowl. Maybe there's going to be a crypto ad, Maddie, maybe, who knows. But in terms of macro, things are looking good. All the key stuff we wanted to see have happened. So now we should be able to cruise from here. That's it.
In case I don't see you, Kareem, I wish you a happy 21st birthday.
I'll take that. Yes, forever 21. Cheers. That's awesome. I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. So yeah.
I was muted. Aubrey did great. He's turning 21 this year as well.
Nice. Look at
Nice.
that. We're so lucky. You know, shout out to everybody in the chat too that's turning 21 this year. That's awesome. We're all gonna be legal.
I don't get ID'd much for drinks anymore.
I know, right? We always do, believe it or not. But I take it as it's cool. They think I'm young, so that's great. I'll take it. They said something about unless you look like you're 50 or 65, we have to keep asking for your ID. So I was like, all right, cool. Well, I'm glad you keep asking then, because the moment you stop asking me, then you assume that I'm 50 or 65. I was like, I mean, I'll get there, but it's just not right now.
Yeah, no, enjoy your youth, Kareem.
Yes.
I envy you, sir.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's pretty much it. Unless anybody, oh, perfect. We get close to 2-hour mark. So is there anybody in the chat maybe have any question, anything you want to ask? Because I think we pretty much went over everything.
If you're in the US and you do get carded, you can get a passport ID card that will show your age, but will not show where you live. So you don't have to show random strangers your home address.
Interesting. But honestly, if you're overseas, they won't
Very
even
crypto.
know. They won't even know what that means. So it's like
Very crypto. Yes.
appreciate you, Shell Fox. Appreciate you as well. So always trying to add value. That's the goal. Every week, every vibe.
Cool.
Well, crypto's asking where do you think PLSX is going?
It's going up. It's the only way it can go, man.
Crypto
Hold on, let me see.
is bullish.
Going up. That's
I
the only
think
thing.
that's gonna be okay. This is gonna sound crazy, but it's not.
That's
so
not
crazy.
crazy.
I
It's
genuinely
not
believe it.
crazy. I think
When
it's
you
going
look
to
at
go up.
when you look at the PLSS chart, when you add again the macro, which is very important with the micro, I firmly believe when all bets are off and we start doing the crazy volume that I know we have done before, we'll continue to do, and everything firing all cylinders, I truly believe PLSX is going to basically it's going to play a BNB. It looks like it. When everything going out and it fires all cylinders, and the biggest chart that I watch is actually, Maddie, let me reshare my screen. I want to show this to people.
I don't think anybody's interested, in my opinion, on this.
It might be just out of curiosity.
I don't know. I mean,
Right.
I just
let me know
make
when you can
these
share my
charts,
screen.
That's all I do.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
So again, most people see this, right? Which again, the cool thing about this chart is that when you look at this or Hex or Ink, they look similar because again, it's just that rebound for after the little FUD from the what's it called, the Interpol and all the other garbage, whatever. So it's recovering. But the cool thing about when you look at PLSX, right? Because Ink is Hex is a leading indicator and they follow similar. Is when I look at the wrap pulse to PulseX. Look at that. That's the chart that's nasty. I love it. My goodness. The last time I see something trending like that so powerfully, irrespective of price, because again, this is a ratio, was BNB. It basically saying rain or shine, this is the direction. The train is going this way. You can like it, love it, hate it, don't matter. Sell it, we'll pump it back up. Big crash, panic, Interpol, whatever, this thing always recover in terms of ratio. That shows me how strong it is because again, just like BNB back in the day and still now, and it's even doing the big crash, it pumped to $715, is because it's the coin of the DEX, it's the coin of the exchange. It don't care about price going up or down. It cares about one thing and one thing only: volume. Volume comes in, burns happen. And the burns have been crazy. This is the reason why Richard tweeted about it and he's been impressed about it because it's like one thing that you design, you know it's going to do well, but it's doing well beyond what you expected. Like the fact that we have a 6% burn is insane. Most people didn't expect that to burn this fast, especially knowing that we haven't even got to the real, true alt season crazy volume yet. So when I see this in terms of ratio, and I know PulseChain is going to do very well, but you got something that rain or shine is constantly trending. Guys, this is a weekly chart. It basically saying since January 2024, basically about a year ago, this thing just decided to be like, you know what? See you later, bye. It's up and to the right. That's it, period. And in terms of price, it's over 100%. Again, this is ratio trading, which then means that in a year from now, if it does another double, because that's basically what it is, trending like that 100%, and let's say the thing core value pulse do a 20x or to 40x, and you double the thing that do 40x, that's 80x in the card. So PulseX looks very, very good. I think it's going to come back like a vengeance. The reason why it's the lowest coin right now is for different reason. It's because bonding liquidity, Hart's law, and the fact that it's the coin that had the biggest sacrifice, aka the biggest circulating supply. It has the most coin. Imagine kind of like a pool pump when you're draining water from a pool pump. The pump can have literally 1,000 cubic meter pumping like crazy. But if you have a lot of water, at first, when you're pumping the water out, you see it going out, but the water barely goes down. But then as you get very, very close to draining, the water just gets sucked out all of a sudden so fast, and then it goes. This is the same thing where we show the effect of compounding and the effect of exponential growth. I used to give you guys the analogy of a drop of water doubling every second, filling up a stadium. And,
right.
And the analogy was for the first 23 hours, the water barely get to the level of the grass. But then the last 50 minutes fills up the whole stadium. Because it's the same effect. It looks like it's not moving because the liquidity in coin term, in PulseX term, just like Hex when we were dumping hard and we were getting massive buys, but the price wasn't going up because there was a lot of liquidity to be drained. Once that liquidity is drained, all of a sudden, when you start to pump, and Hex is already at that level, so I'm showing you what PulseX will do in the future. Go back here. Is that all of a sudden a little bit of volume can pump the price like crazy without needing what it used to need before, right? So let's see. Show you guys this again. You see how it was on the daily chart. The same volume we used to have before compared to the volume that we have now already kind of pushes the price back up, which then shows me that when we're going to get back to a zone where you see how this channel here says, this candle here says 6%, this 7% down. This one here says 17%. It's up 17%, but look at the volume. It needed half the volume than what this candle right here and this candle needed. Because once everything has already been sold, and remember, to buy, somebody need to sell, somebody need to buy. So red candle are sales, but that means somebody else bought it. See this wick? Somebody bought that. And that was one of the biggest volume that we had right here. Somebody bought that. So it's very, very important to keep that in mind, because then when we start to recover, the first time around, those were big volume bars, because there's a lot of liquidity to be purchased. And after that has already been sold, to recover now, you need less volume because there's not that much liquidity in coin terms over there. So you can easily, with half the volume of this, push the price right back up to that zone because there's less coin. It's going to happen the same thing with PulseX. The reason why it's the slowest one is because it's the bottom denominator. It's the biggest liquidity because the biggest liquidity is Pulse to PulseX, which is the reason why when the buy and burn pushes the prices up, then that energy gets transferred to PulseChain, which then transfer the energy to Hex. That's why you see a lot of PulseX being sold for ink usually, and then the ink gets sold for PulseChain, and then PulseChain gets sold for Hex. This is kind of how the value gets transferred up the food chain. But the indicator that's clear and undeniable is this ratio, PulseX to Pulse, because it's buyback and burn. So as it's being buyback and burn, the price is still gaining against Pulse. Although the PulseX is then being sold to push the Pulse price. But because buyback and burn is happening every day, it's still transferring value. I think it was somewhere around where our current price is somewhere around $50 million, $50 or $60 million worth of buyback and burn that's happened at current price, which then means the price double, that value will be greater. But the cool thing about buying back and burn with high volume at lower price is that more coins are able to be burned because they cost less. So this is telling me,
that sac rate, that's 150 million. And how much was even sacrificed? $1 billion. So you're already at 15%. In some sense, 15% of the supply.
Exactly. And then what's going to happen is over time, just like I explained the analogy of the pool pump or the stadium, is that right now it's moving, it's pumping a lot, but you barely see it at the eye because there's so much liquidity in terms of coins. It's like saying the water pump is pumping at a high cubic meter rate, but you barely see the water going down because it's so much. It's like inundated. But as you get closer and closer to soak whatever that's left, all of a sudden that same volume that used to look like the water is not moving, all of a sudden it's going to suck the rest of it, and then the price is going to exponentially pump. And those who didn't get in are usually going to be left behind. The same way you see the burn, right? 1.21 trillion coin burn, but there's still 20 trillion in the supply. But and when it first started, that thing had 22 trillion. Now it says 20. It's going to get to, and this is symmetrical too, so that means 10 and 10. It's going to get to a point where it's going to be 19, then 18. And then because of the way exponential works, just like Hex back in the day when we have billions and billions of coin in the liquidity pairs, at some point it was like 5 or 6 billion. And then it got lower to like hundreds of millions at some point. That's why EX right now is somewhere around like 200 million coin or something like that. Very, very low, which is also why anytime with the sufficient volume, the price can just shoot up like a rocket. It's going to happen the same thing with PulseX. It's just, first, it takes a little bit of time, but now you already burn over 1 trillion. All we need is just the volume to be sustainable. As the volume is sustainable and rising, the PulseX pulse ratio is going to continue to separate itself, and this guy is going to start coming back to convention and then pushing all the prices up. So in the long term, it might end up being the coin that gets the most return, especially starting from the low, because he has one of the lowest price. If we don't count EHEX, we just look at core coins, PulseX is the most undervalued. Therefore, is the one that can give you the most hypothetical return, right? Because it's basic math. Buy low, sell high. The lower something is, as it goes to a certain price, the more return it will give you. Now, you do need to delay gratification. You do need to have that patience. The same way BNB started at 50 cents, and people basically dismissed it. Like, oh, yeah, it's never going to do anything, because they were comparing to other coin that was similar, but they didn't understand that Binance will become what it became today, right? With the volume and controlling all the sell stuff and controlling all those trading pairs. Well, it's the same thing with PulseX, because if PulseChain as an ecosystem do very well, PulseX is bound to benefit the most, because rain or shine, irrespective of price, if volume is happening on any of those pairs, PulseX benefit from it. Even if we become a potential meme coin blockchain as well on Pulse, well, PulseX will benefit from that volume as well. So it's very, very important to understand that.
Absolutely.
That's why for those who play the liquidity game, I said Inc. PulseX is the best pair, because again, PulseX undervalued, Inc. also a little bit undervalued as the leading indicator, because Inc. needs to rise as well, so that the value of the providing liquidity playing that game gives you the best APR, because it's based on the value of Inc. Higher the Inc goes, the higher the value of the APR, which then attracts more people to come in and play in the chain. So once you provide liquidity for these two guys, in the long run, you don't have as much impermanent loss as, if you were to provide it for a coin plus a USD, assuming that, again, we are in the bull market. In the bear market, it's a different story. But in the bull market, yeah, you want to play liquidity game with non-USD denominated asset. So yeah,
18.57% APR on PulseX for the Inc.
Wow.
PulseX farm.
Nice. People pay attention. It used to be 25%. It went down. That means people went to provide liquidity. That's good. That's good. They learned. And again, it's been delivering. One of my friends knows the triple
$45 million of liquidity, right?
Yeah.
It's a combination of things. Hey, by the way, are you have a good feel for just how much bigger PulseX V1 is over V2? It is the majority trading, and so
makes sense. It burns more that way.
Yeah. So whatever you guys all think about the screw up of the first V1 not paying out rewards.
I love it. I love it. I leave my. It's
probably one of the most bullish things that's ever happened, Kareem. It's the most bullish thing. Fast Abdoul.
Yeah, I think
it's like
considering the farms have most of that volume, it's okay too.
Yeah, it's like 80% of the volume on chain.
Yeah.
It's all going through V1 because of those farms.
Yeah. And it's mostly the farm positions that are taking up that volume, I would think. Am I right, Crispy?
Yeah, most of it.
Yeah.
And I would venture to say this. I wouldn't doubt if very soon you see a new farm.
That would be huge.
No promises, but I'm just thinking.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking we're going to see a farm.
Which one?
Well, what would be in it? What would be the pair?
What I would like to see, I'd like to see us reactivate the wrapped Bitcoin farms.
Wrapped Bitcoin and
That would be
what I'd like to
huge.
see.
P
My only
Bitcoin.
thing is, as long as it's on V1, I'm happy with that because I think it's just a no-brainer. Keep burning those things, and if you own PulseX or bought a bag or think about buying a bag, you're gonna benefit from that way anyway. So it's like that's why V1 continue to be a dominant force. And I don't think the mistake is a mistake. It's great because it turns out to be what we actually need. Because that way, everybody that owns the coin just benefit because he just buys and burns. The value is transferred to make sure the whole community, whoever owns the coin, benefit versus, if you have to deal with snipers and people just come in and just exit liquidity and just extract and then leave like kind of vampire attack. We don't have to deal with that. It's literally just benefiting the ecosystem. So I like that.
Yeah, agreed. There was, there was that wrap Bitcoin against wrap Bitcoin PWBTC farm did exist, and you can see it on PulseX. If you go to the farming section and click finished, you can see there was copied Bitcoin, copied Pepe, copied Link, and copied Uniswap token. All had farms in the early days. So I'd be very curious to see if there'd be farms for other tokens people talk about, PDI perhaps. Or
the famous farm that came and went. EHEX, PHEX.
EHEX,
that baby comes back.
Nah.
I'm jumping in. I've been throwing it.
I was in that farm. That was a good farm.
That would be so good if it comes back. No promises, but
I got you covered.
It's probably not the priority, but I would like to see that come back.
Like I said.
Hey, listen, dude. I mean, for those people who are willing to provide liquidity, it's very, very good.
And by the way, all you need. It's kind of like staking it away. All you need is that if for some reason EXPA start to trend, just not even to get there, just start to trend towards parity again, trust me, the money's going to come. And it's going to be like, well, since it's this close, might as well just close it together. You know what I mean? Now it's a little bit far away. People it's distant. But once you get close, it's kind of like the one joke somebody is right when he talks about the whole, parity to $1 or whatever. It's like, it looks like, nobody believes. But if it becomes 20, 30% close to that, then we're going to be like, fuck, it's close. Let's go get it. It adds to the believability, like, oh, it's possible. When it looks like it's far away, you'll be like, yeah, whatever. So the closer it gets, the closer people believe that it's going to happen, and then they will get involved. It's just like kind of like when we're talking about hex staking, like, oh, yeah, it's cream. I don't know, man. But then, boom, we're back about 5, 10 cents, 15 cents. You realize, oh, shit, I can stake and make $3,000 a month passive. All of a sudden, I'm back to being financially free. All of a sudden, the staking behavior changed. Everybody's locking their coin now because, oh, shit, it's valuable again. Like, it's just, even though if you understand the wisdom, you should get it that it's already valuable. But some people are waiting for price confirmation to get to a certain point to remind that,
well, you know what else would be a really great pool to have out there? My PDI and Hex, PDI Hex pool. In a farm. Oh my God, would that be so awesome? That would be. I
heard it's near $1 already. Oh, 1-to-1 ratio, some bullshit like that.
Hey, listen. Right now it's maintaining 1-to-1 ratio.
I mean,
it's pretty close. It's in a range, but I mean, PDI to Hex is about 1-to-1. I mean,
the way I noticed it was, remember how people were talking about PDI this and that, and I was like, oh, you went up 30%. I was like, yeah, but guess what? My EHEX went up the same percentage. When this thing goes 30%, the EX go 30% too. That's when I realized, oh, they must be close to 1-to-1 then. That's why I say if that thing were to happen, again, I got no horse in that race, but if that were to happen, I'm like, good for you. Make my EX back.
Somebody should send you 1 million PDI so you care.
No. Don't do it.
Me too.
Don't do it. I don't want
it. Me too. That's a bit more.
Watch out.
You know what else is in parity? You know what else is at parity, Kareem?
What is
right now in Hex? You know what else is at parity?
Tell me.
Number of T-shares.
Ooh, no way. You serious?
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't do the percentage, but it's close enough. I mean, we've got on. Let's see. On the.
How's that possible? I thought EHEX was ahead because of all the Exodus.
You obviously don't listen to anything I say. We have 8.7. We have 8,778,000 T-shares and change
Yes.
on the
I don't know.
PulseChain,
Mhm.
and we have 8,776,000 in change.
Wow.
There's just a 2,000 difference between the chains right at the
That's
moment.
crazy.
Now, what it
So
has to
it's
do,
not
it has to
bad.
do with whale games, right?
Yeah.
So
I
there's
remember the days where it was almost 50,000 to 100,000 T-shirt part, like clearly, because obviously due to the
well,
exodus,
there's a whale. I think it's God whale, right? That
he
has
rebalanced it.
he had done 2 offset stakes, one on Pulse and one on the Ethereum side. The one on Pulse came to maturity, but he did not end it.
Oh, okay.
And
Makes
somebody good accounted it, took the shares out of the pool, right?
Okay.
So that's how they
Yeah.
got close together. But there is another stake on Ethereum that's getting ready to come out. If that comes out, then we'll see the T-shares drop. If he doesn't,
Yeah.
if he ends it or somebody good accounts it, you'll see it drop. And so we'll now have another gap. And
Yes.
then there's only, other than the OA and himself, the Godwill, maybe there's another wallet, two or three other wallets that could make the same kind of impact.
Mhm.
But you really just can't do it. I mean, we literally we are almost whale proof. I mean, some
Yeah.
people will say, "Oh, it's not true because they're dumping your head," but the people who have the ability to do it, they're not whales. The ones that are doing this stuff, at least
Exactly.
not in my view, they're not. Anyways,
This is my proof to the hater when they be like, "Oh, we are banned." I'm like, bro, no. For the most part, from the community and the number of stakers, the majority of the community owns both, and they do what I've been preaching from the get-go. When you have the privilege to have a copy, you have the privilege not to have to pick a side. You can literally just own both and just chill. And the fact that mine is Godwell, like you said, and a few things, and the fact that it's very close, it shows to me that the majority of the community has been doing that. When I say the community, I'm very specifically talking about the hex takers, because they understand that it's my T-shirts, my money printer. Why would I give them away? Yes, one prints at a higher rate than others, but
is there an impression out there that there's a whole bunch of capitulation in hex? I think most people
but
probably
there was.
did.
There definitely
People
was.
like, oh, people are capitulating, but it was never really true. It's just that's kind of crap. I mean, yeah, we have a little uptick. We have had an uptick of people emerging and staking, but it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like instead of it being 3 million in penalties on average every day, it's 4 million. That's the kind of difference. But okay,
Yeah,
so
because here's the
30%
detail. Here's the confusion. The capitulation
you know
done by what I call the fake hexicans, the people who are literally only were here for the ride and just selling in quick and dumping on people's head.
Yeah,
those are the people that got flushed out. Those are the people who almost never staked. They were just always holding liquid. So when they sold and affected the price, people confused that with, oh, hexicans are leaving. Well, no, those guys were never truly hexicans. They were just
they're just waiting to dump. They're just waiting to dump on your head.
Exactly.
Just like the guys that say, Kareem, you shouldn't get any more rewards because you know what? You're making too many. You're making too many. Just because you locked up all your hex for 15 years doesn't mean you should get extra rewards. But then again, that's how the contract was written. That's the whole purpose, right? So
exactly.
The other thing you haven't seen is we are in the capitulation zone right now. But you know what? The state of the staker class is strong right now. Hex stakers are strong because you know what? We haven't seen the capitulation. So it could happen. Never say never. When you start seeing a severe increase that starts changing the metrics, I'll let you know.
Amen.
Sorry, Maddie, interrupted you.
Oh, you're good. No, I was just gonna say, like, I don't know if you were talking about Dipcatcher, but like his plan to like reduce the payouts would still result probably in like the same amount of, like dollar value accrued.
I don't know.
Day.
Yeah, I'm not speaking about what I didn't even watch him on the video, so I can't even speak to what he had to say.
Oh, dude, it's an excellent talk. I would strongly recommend.
Yeah, I just get assailed from a lot of different directions, a lot of different messages from a lot of people, all telling me how it isn't right that they can't just buy hex. It goes up 100x and they can sell it on my head. So that's what they say.
Oh yeah, what the hell? Like
they shouldn't. I shouldn't get more for staking.
We should just do it that way, right? Like
we should just do it that way.
Yeah.
But you know what?
So
it's
easy.
immutable code. So I'm playing the game. I have to play the hand I've been given. Right. So that's what I'm playing.
Well, with that being said, let's play the hands we've been given and go around the room here and tell people where to find more of your content so we can wrap it up.
Yeah, you guys know me at xfire.io or xfire.io on Twitter and YouTube's.
Nice.
Cool.
Oh, Maddie, one quick comment. It's like the cool thing about bond math is if we ever get to a point where the reward in Hex lowers, but then the price shoots up, like Maddie was saying, the economic value will still be the same or greater. So it's like either way, because it's such a dynamic system, we will still benefit tremendously, period. So
Right.
that's one comment to make. And yeah, you can find me primarily on Twitter, very easy, at Your Magic, you see on the screen, or on Instagram, Cream Crypto Cuatro Cinco. Boom.
Boom.
I'm too old for Instagram.
I said, what? What? Where'd that come from? That's
I
not
only
even
recently
true.
found Twitter.
What are you going to be? On TikTok? Are you serious? What?
No, what is TikTok? Never heard of
Where
that.
you going to
got
go?
shut
Where you going to
down.
go? Facebook? Where the retiree hang out at? Is that where you going to be?
Well,
Flip
I don't
flop.
have a Facebook account either, and I never
You
have.
literally just set up 2 of IG. Did I hear this right? This is
No, I
crazy.
just I got Twitter just like maybe 2 years ago when I
Release
started on the
the Grok.
PulseChain. That was like my first Twitter
Nice.
account.
Welcome to the party.
Wow. Wow.
But anyway,
that's
I can be
hilarious.
found at Fast Abdoul at Twitter, where I'm now
Yes.
prolific. And via my website, 2phux.io. I'm here for the tech.
Awesome.
I
Awesome.
went looking for you on Instagram, but I couldn't find 2 fucks.
We're
So
not
I
on
went over to
Yeah.
OnlyFriends.
Oh,
Right.
no, no, no.
OnlyFans has lots of them.
Whoa, where?
Cool. And so people can find me at mati.pls.fyi. Currently accepting any $1 million PDI donations people want to make.
Not $1 million, million PETA.
Sure,
Right,
whatever.
what?
So with that being said, let's see. We got to load up our killer thumbnail. Oh, it's already there. Cool. So until next time, stake wisely, my friends,
Oh.
and peace out.
Thank God they don't know my wallet. That's good.
Wah, wah, wah.
That was hilarious.
ETH Leaders Anti-Win Crusade is super bullish for
Bang, bang.
PulseChain.com.
Have a good night, y'all. Love you.
Peace.
Peace.